Wind. What is wind? When the sun heats up a mass of air, the air becomes lighter and rises. That creates an area of low pressure beneath it. Cool air, such as the air at high altitudes, is heavier and it sinks. It exerts more downward pressure, creating an area of high pressure. A difference in atmospheric pressure between two areas causes wind, as air always moves from the high into the low pressure area to balance out the pressure. We feel the moving air as wind. The greater the difference in temperature between the areas, the stronger the winds. Wind is also affected by the rotation of the planet, and landforms such as mountains and valleys can influence airflow and cause regional winds. The Mistral and the Tramontane are cold winds of the Mediterranean basin. The hot and the dry Socorro comes from the Sahara. Chinooks are warm, moist air masses from the Pacific that blow over the Rocky Mountains, while they drop their moisture as snow or rain, and they sweep down the eastern slopes as warm, dry winds. Monsoons bring warm, humid air to South Asia and cause heavy rains. Why is wind important? It oxygenates the oceans by stirring up the water surface in waves. It spreads seeds, spores, and pollen. It influences flying insect population and bird migration. Strong winds may discourage flying insects, a food source for some birds, from traveling, but winds in the right direction can help migrating birds by providing them with tailwinds. The atmosphere on the moon is very thin, so there is no wind. The flag planted there by the Apollo 11 astronauts in 1969 is held out by the horizontal bar. Jet streams are air currents in upper atmosphere. They can lengthen or shorten long plane flights by as much as an hour, depending on whether the plane is flying with or against the current. Cyclone or tornado. Some winds are so strong that they can cause serious and even devastating damage. A cyclone is formed in an area of low atmospheric pressure. The air moves upward from near an ocean surface, creating violent winds. Typhoons, hurricanes, and tropical cyclones are different names for the same phenomenon. The name varies depending on where in the world the event takes place. A tornado is a violently spinning column of air from a thunderstorm that stretches down to the ground. A tornado's destructive power is enormous. The United States has more tornadoes than any other country in the world, about 1,000 every year. Threats to air quality. A pollutant is anything that has a negative effect on the quality of the atmosphere. Air pollution occurs when particles and gases in the air reach levels that are harmful enough to affect the world's climate, as well as the health of living things. Air pollution can be caused by both natural phenomena and human activity. Dust, pollen, smoke, and gases like carbon dioxide can all be sources of air pollution. Because the atmosphere doesn't respect borders, pollutants can travel long distances from one country to another. Air pollution caused by natural phenomena. Volcanic eruptions spill ash and sulfur dioxide. Smoke from forest fires carries fine particles over long distances. Flowers release high concentrations of pollen. Organic decomposition produces methane, a gas released from wetlands and the destructive tracks of animals. Air pollution caused by human activity. So it divided into two parts. First is outside. It can cause by industrial smoke tags, agricultural activity like pesticides, fertilizers, burning of waste. Exhaust fumes from fuel combustion in motor vehicles, generating power for heating and air conditioning. Waste treatment facilities like incinerators. Chemical pollutants from the burning of fossil fuels such as oil, natural gas, and coal have the biggest effect on the quality of outdoor air. Inside, household cleaning products, certain household fragrances such as scented candles and air fresheners, cosmetics, paints, varnishes, and craft products. It may seem surprising, but indoor air can be as polluted as outdoor air. Renovations like painting, sanding, or varnishing, cooking, and house cleaning can air pollute our homes, releasing dust, particles, and fibers that remain suspended in the air. Dairy farms produce methane, a powerful greenhouse gases that is responsible for 25% of human-caused global warming. A dairy cow can produce up to 198 pounds, means 90 kilograms of methane per year. Cigarette smoke contains at least 70 cancer-causing chemicals. To improve indoor air quality, simply open the windows in your home for about 10 minutes each day when the outdoor air is not smoggy. Making sure your room is dust-free and hanging laundry outside to dry will also help keep the air clean, instead of using the washing machines. Effects on air pollution. On humans, over time, exposure to contaminated air can affect human health. First, pollution attacks the airways and lungs and can cause asthma, allergies, and respiratory diseases. It can also increase the risk of cancer. Pollution attacks the eyes and skin, resulting in conjunctivitis, skin disorders, and increase in the risk of cancer. Pollution can affect the cardiovascular system, introducing very fine particles into the blood. On plants and animals, pollutants can affect plants and animals in different ways. Fine particles can clog the pores of leaves and slow down photosynthesis. Acid rain damages leaves and seeps into the ground, destroying microorganisms that keep the soil healthy. Acidic soil also makes trees more vulnerable to pests and diseases. Air pollution also affects certain animal species, such as honeybees, which pollinate 80% of the world's food crops. In pollution interferes with the bees' ability to flower scents. On the planet, heat from the sun penetrates the lower layers of the atmosphere. Gases such as carbon dioxide trap some of this heat, creating the greenhouse effect, a natural process that keeps the planet warm enough to sustain life. But when too many greenhouse gases are produced, they become pollutants, causing the atmosphere to heat up unnaturally quickly. We call this global warming. This warming is causing the Earth's climate to change. What about ozone? Artificial chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, have been used to make refrigerators, air conditioners, and aerosol containers. These chemicals floated into the upper atmosphere when they helped create a hole in the ozone layer, which protects us from the sun's ultraviolet light. In 1987, many countries agreed to limit the use of CFCs. Without this joint action, the ozone hole could be much bigger today. Instead, it is expected to heal completely by 2060. Without the greenhouse effect, the Earth's surface temperature could be minus 0.4 degree Fahrenheit, meaning minus 18 degrees Celsius, too cold for life as we know it. How can we improve air quality? Around the world, cities and countries are taking measures to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and lessen the effects of global warming by building bike lanes, improving public transit systems, encouraging carpooling, and developing pedestrian-only streets to limit the numbers of vehicles in city cores. Composting rather than burning organic waste, constructing eco-friendly buildings that use less energy to heat, cool, and build, using vehicles powered by clean energy, installing green spaces such as parks, green roofs, and vertical gardens to absorb carbon dioxide, filter out pollutants, and keep areas cool. Number 3. Soil. Soil is the uppermost part of the Earth's surface, but what goes on in this thin layer, on average just 12 inches or 30 centimeters thick, that surrounds our planet. Soil is essential to the survival of most living things. It's a mixture of rock particles, from large rocks to grains of sand, clay, and bits of dead plants and animals. Air and water circulate through soil, which teems with all kinds of life forms, from mice and earthworms to plants, bacteria, and fungi. Soil holds the roots of trees and plants, keeping them stable. It helps regulate the climate by absorbing and releasing gases, water vapor, and dust. It also cleans the water that runs through it. It can take hundreds or even thousands of years for soil to form. Wind, erosion, and the presence of absence of plants and microorganisms all contribute to its makeup. So, what is soil? Soil is composed of 4 elements. 1. Water. First is the water runs through it and carries oxygen, carbon dioxide, and mineral salts. Second, air flows the exchange of carbon and oxygen between the soil and the atmosphere. 3. Minerals define the texture of the soil: sand, silt, or clay. 4. Organic matter, or the decaying remains of living things, makes up humus. The lives of 7 billion people and an untold number of species depend on the earth of this top layer of the Earth's surface. Earthworms help with soil formation. By digging tunnels in the ground, they allow water to penetrate and drain more easily. They aerate the soil, allowing oxygen to enter and carbon dioxide to escape. They have fertilized the soil by eating decomposing plant matter, which they then excrete on the surface. This removes contaminants and adds nutrients to the earth. An earthworm can digest up to 40 tons, 36 tonnes of soil a year. That's like eating 6 elephants. Earthworms also called to produce compost. This is called vermicultural.